Hello everybody, my name is Era Moreno and I'm a tutor for the Aspire program. And today we're going over Newman projections. And more specifically, we're going to be doing conversions from bond-line structures into Newman structures. So what a lot of students have a lot of trouble with is that they they tend to get lost into which atom goes where, like the configuration. Like does this go over here, or does it go up here, or does it go in the back? So we're gonna be talking about that. And before I start going into like examples and details, we're gonna first talk about perspectives. And by perspectives, I mean like where the arrow is going. Because when you're doing from bond line to Newman, you're always gonna see like an arrow going this way, or you're gonna see it going this way. All right, so I'm gonna bring up a 3D model that I found on a website. Don't worry, I'll put a link in the description so that you can do some practice work and sort of reorient yourself around the atom. So this is basically like this, only I've added an extra atom. So the atom right here in green is a fluorine, and I want you to, look at it and pay attention to it because this is where some students will get confused. So for the first perspective, like the first arrow we'll be doing is this one right here, the one going from left to right. So if we're going from left to right, we're going to be turning the atom towards us, and as you can see, the fluorine is going to be on your left side. So just keep that in mind. When you're going left to right, it's going to be on your left side. However, if you're going to go through the opposite way, to where the fluorine is going to be in front of you, the arrangement of the atoms are going to change. So if you look at it right here, the fluorine is on your right side instead of on your left side. So just try to keep in mind of how that looks, because we're going to be going over a couple of examples. So for the first example, we're going to be going from a bond line structure into a Newman structure. And the best way to start this off is by looking at where your arrow is. So is it going from your right to left or from left to right? So from here you can see that it's going from your right to your left. So the best way to start this off is going by what is in the plane. And by in the plane, I mean like what is on the same plane as these two carbon atoms, because that is what's pretty much the easiest thing students can understand. So anything that is not on a wedge or a dash is in the plane. So you can see these two right here. These two are both methyl groups, and those are in the plane. So that means they're going to be over here and over here. Now in most textbooks and possibly homework, usually they'll leave it blank. So, but for this this example, I'm just going to write Me for methyl groups. So now that we have that done, now we're going to be going over to like the more harder things. So since this arrow is going from right to left, you know that your chlorine is going to be in one of these two slots. So if you remember from the atom that we just looked at, that's right here, you can sort of orient yourself as to where that chlorine is going to be. So just we're going to pretend that this one is the chlorine. Let's see if I can get it better. Right there. So this is the chlorine, and then the one back here is the bromine. So if you were to turn it towards you, like the way that this arrow is going, you're going to see that the chlorine is going to be on your left side. So why don't we go and put the chlorine on your left side? And sometimes, just to make it easier for yourself, like when you're first beginning, it's better to label what is going to be your left and what's going to be your right. Especially if it's going to be one of those for notes or homeworks and you want to review it. That way when you look at it, you can kind of tell where you are. So now that we have the chlorine, this one is, automatically going to be hydrogen, because all bond line structures have hydrogens on them even though you don't see them. So now we're going to go to the bromine. So you can sort of use your imagination. Like if this is chlorine, that's going to be on your left side. and it's going towards you, then bromine, since it's going away from you, you know it's going to be on your right side. So bromine is going to be right here. And then you can automatically fill this in with the hydrogen. And that's pretty much how you do a bond line structure to a Newman structure. So we're going to do another example, but it's this way. It's going to be the opposite. It's going to be going from a Newman structure to a bond line structure. So what you want to do here is just start off with what is in the plane. And by in the plane is what's in the same plane as the two carbons in the center. So what you can start off with is just a line. So you know this one's going to be carbon, this one's going to be carbon. And that's going to represent what's in the middle. So if you look at what's above and below it, you can see that there isn't anything on here. So you can automatically assume that it is a methyl group unless otherwise stated. So even if this were an iodine or chlorine or even just a hydrogen, you'll know that what they mean is what's in the plane. But since this is a methyl group, we're just going to go and put one line here. So that's your methyl group for the one that goes up and the other one that goes down. So that is what it will look like for the things that are in the plane. And I think I'm pretty sure I got this one like wrapped around. So let's see if I can do it better. So we're just gonna pretend that the arrow is gonna go up here. So this is pretty much your point of view. And just to make it easier, you can assign what it's going to look like. So this is going to be your right, and this is going to be your left. So as you can tell, the bromine is going to be on your right. So if you were to sort of turn it this way, you can make sure that you do it correctly. So this is going to be a wedge, which is BR, and you can do this, another wedge for BR. And then the hydrogens you don't really have to worry about, but in the case that your professor wants to put it on there, or wants you to put it on there, or you just want to do that to make sure you get it, you can put some dashes, and that will be your hydrogen. Oops. Let me correct this. This will be your hydrogen. And for this one, you can do the opposite. You can even put it like this, and put the bromine on dashes. But what you need to make sure is that when you do this sort of thing with from Newman's to the bond line structure, you need to make sure that if they're on the same side, that they have to have the same either wedge or dash. So since these two are on the same side, you have to make sure that these two are either on wedges or on dashes, and that'll pretty much be correct. And that's pretty much it for this tutorial. If you need any more help, you can drop by the Aspire Labs or to any other tutors that are in your area, and they can explain it to you better. So until then, I'll see you next time.